Hello, good morning, and welcome to today's video. We're going to be doing a really fun one. We're going to be revamping and planting up our vegetable patch because it is June 2nd, which means that the risk of frost is hopefully all gone and we can finally plant everything up. I have some seeds that we're going to be starting, peas and beans. We have tons of tomatoes that really need to get out there. They're my favorite type, which is the sun gold cherry tomato. Great for a short season. And we have some cucumbers and zucchini as well. And I think we might stop by the garden center maybe later today to just pick up some more things. So let me show you the stuff we're going to be planting up today. So here we have some tomatoes, and actually we're not planting up the hollyhocks. We have tomatoes that I started back in April. More tomatoes.
Yeah, they're longing to go out.
These are really needing to go out, not looking good. Starting to flower though, so that's great. So we have tons of sun golds. And then let me show you the varieties we're gonna do for our peas. We have the Oregon sugar pod. These work really well for us, and our dog loves snacking on these as well. Another Oregon sugar pod. Then we have the Trionfo Violetta pole bean. And that'll be really beautiful. I love purple pole beans. They have a really gorgeous purple flower. We also have this Blue Lake MF1K pole bean. And this Kentucky Wonder pole bean. I love this packaging from Botanical Interests. I just think the packaging with the illustrations is so pretty. But we also have some annuals that we're gonna plant in the back of the kitchen garden. And then here are the rest of our veggies that are going out. This is the Dunja zucchini. This is a fantastic zucchini if you have a cucumber beetle, if you have a short growing season. It's great. It still does get affected by powdery mildew, but not until later in the season when you get a big yield. So this is a great one. We have, this is the Diva cucumber, fantastic cucumber. Again, great for a shorter growing season. They've done really well for us. And then this is the Butterfingers yellow squash. It's a yellow summer squash. And again, these all really need to get out. So I'm excited to plant these out. These were all started on May 11th. So just a few weeks. These ones are just incredible how quickly they grow. Look at that. Wow, beautiful. Looking healthy and strong. So we'll go ahead and head over to the kitchen garden and we'll see how it's looking. We have one bed that's already planted up with our herbs for the year. Those are perennials and biennials. So that's all set. And then we're probably going to just do some rejigging. We're just going to make longer rows instead of individual beds. That's my thought for this gardening season, and see how that goes. And then we're going to be doing a lot of companion planting. We did a companion planting video back in the winter, but now you can kind of see it in action, how we actually plant those up. So let's head over there. It's quite a trek over to the other property. So I think we're gonna grab the gorilla cart and just walk on over. Let me see where Bert went. We're both very excited that it's finally warm. It's maybe 58, like upper 50s right now, but I think it's gonna get in the mid 60s today. So we're just taking it all in. Excited, happy to be alive. Oh, is this the boulder you found the other day?
Yeah.
That's gorgeous. Yeah. This giant, oh, it looks like a lot of critters are using it. I bet chipmunks sit there and eat. All right, here's our vegetable patch. It needs some cleanup. All the tulips have gone over. But the tulips were so wonderful this year. I just love doing that. If you have an area where it doesn't have any winter interest at all or spring interest, throwing some bulbs in there can be great. So we had 12 of the beds filled with all different types, colors, textures, shapes of tulips, and it was really, really wonderful because this is all brown sticks, and you can even see the property that's farther over there. And it just totally fills in season, which is so fun. That's like a little fern gully over there. What we're gonna do with these bulbs is you can dig them up, put them in old recycled plant pots, fill that with compost or leaf mold, and then you can just sort of set them in an area that gets a decent amount of sun and keep them watered, not like drenched, but maybe once a week. Then when they all die back completely, then you can just cut the foliage back to the bulb itself and then store the bulb in a container that has nice airflow, so a crate or something like that, and then store that ready to plant up in the autumn. And I've noticed that when we've done this method, one year it was 100% of those bulbs came back. One year we got some critters in the containers that ate the bulbs. So that year it was still about 50% of those bloomed. It's a process, so if you enjoy doing that, it's a really lovely way to do it. Or you can just plant them green, meaning you can dig them up as they are and then just plant those actual plants as they are without cutting back any foliage straight in the ground in an area that you want them. If you're doing that, I would recommend that you do it in an area that doesn't get a terrible amount of moisture, that's not sitting in moisture. So we have a hill that's really nice for that because the airflow there is really nice. The water just rolls right down the rocks. So that's a good way to do it. So now that we've sort of caught our bearings here and we know what we're planning on doing, we're going to be combining all of these separate beds into long rows. So just creating long rows. I think that'll be a lot better. And because we have, it's fairly shady over here. Some of the beds are shady for part of the day. I think it's really going to be helpful to maximize the space that we have for gardening. And I think what we're going to do in between the beds that exist right now, we are going to be planting those up with flowers. I just really wanted to have this area look lush and full and abundant. We have tons of dahlia tubers from last year. So that's the plan. I'm going to be pulling up the tulips while Bert rejigs all of the beds so that we have just 4 rows going straight down. Yeah? Sound good? You excited?
Yeah, sounds great.
All right, let's go. Okay, little update on the tulip bulbs. So at first I was trying to be really careful with them, but the more I dug up, the more I realized we've had so much rain lately that most of them are really moldy. So I think with this batch, we're just going to compost them. Unfortunately, that is a bummer when that happens. We had a few of them last year that did that were a little bit on the moldier side, but yeah, that just stinks. One of our worst weeds here, our worst perennial weeds, is the black raspberries. I think they're gorgeous. I think they're really beautiful, but they are kind of the bane of the gardener's existence here. And I've noticed that some of them have crawled into one of our beds. So I just removed some of those, but I'm just gonna come through and continue to pull out the bulbs. I'm not gonna be as careful to pull up each individual bulb this time, knowing that we are just gonna end up composting them. The good news is we got them really late in the season, so they were all they were all discounted bulbs, which is great, but yeah, you win some, you lose some. And so Bert is just working on combining all of these, taking the pickaxe, removing the rocks here, and then we're gonna be creating the rocks all along either side, like this. This is not a black raspberry, this is a Boyne raspberry. And we planted this in our barrel here, and we have tons of berries forming up, so that'll be fun. But excuse me, right in here, this is how it's gonna look. And then we're gonna fill this area up in between all of the beds. So we have more planting space. Are you excited about it?
I'm really excited about it.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, your plan with the flowers in between.
Yeah.
That's gonna add such cool interest back here.
Oh, good.
Like layers.
Thanks.
We're gonna walk in and see I'm really excited to see what happens.
Yeah, me too. Hopefully it's really colorful and vibrant.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll keep going. It's a nice day though, right?
It's beautiful. It's
Beautiful.
Not, like, super hot.
No.
Kind of got a cool breeze.
Yeah.
Living the dream.
Yeah. Ooh. Wow.
Good one for the rock walls.
Well, sometimes when you're weeding, you come across weeds like dandelions, raspberries, but you can also come across little marvels of nature. Here, let me show you. So I think this is either a trillium or a jack in the pulpit, which grow wild here, and they're just so stunning. So I think I'm gonna transplant that. And we also find these a lot, which I think is so charming. A little oak tree starting from an acorn. Look at that, isn't that neat? Bert's planted these up before, like just when we find them, dug them up and then planted them. But I think he forgot about it.
Didn't do a good job with it.
So I'm using the Hori Hori knife that we got. I'll leave it linked below. One of you sent it to us from your shop. So this is the Sen Green. This is so handy. So I'm using this to weed the borders. I'm starting right at the front of the kitchen garden, weeding this first border. But look, I found some wild poppies that have sown themselves. They could be poppies that we sowed over there on the other property, but it's quite a distance for it to be traveling. And then we found some spinach just there in the front of the border, free plants. So I might transplant these into the back of the border. We'll see how they transplant. They don't usually like to have their roots disturbed. And Bert has completed one entire row. It's a little higgledy-piggledy. So then we'll just fill this in with some soil. This is our herb bed, and I need to clear out that area. Another one, and all the way to the end. All right, a little update for you. Bert beasted through that and has completely finished all of the rows. Wow, amazing. I'm working a little slower. I have 2.5 more beds to weed. We did take a little sneaky little break, had some lunch. Honestly, the black flies haven't been that bad. They've just started coming out a little bit. You're probably sick of hearing about them, so we're not going to talk about them too much. But if you see me looking like a cow in a field going like flicking my tail, that's why. So now we have to kind of decide where we're going to be placing everything, keeping in mind what went where last year. So we're doing a little bit of crop rotation. We have Georgie out here with us as well. She's getting into all kinds of projects. So George, what are you up to? Yeah. She loves it though. I heard once that when a dog is able to like go and sniff around, and like I call it scruffling when she goes and does that, she's like scruffling around. I heard that is like an antidepressant for dogs. It really helps them, like it makes them feel like they have a purpose and stuff. So I just, anytime I see her scruffling around, it makes me so happy. Because with a blind dog who's mostly deaf, that's amazing that she's on the hunt, on the prowl for something. All right, let's see what we can do here. All right, so here we have our rows, and we have some structures up from last year. That's where we did the tomatoes. That was our bean pod. But we just need to kind of decide where we want to put stuff. Even though it doesn't look like it right now, these look like the sunniest beds right now. These are actually the shadiest beds. They just get this little sliver of sunlight toward the end of the day. But then beyond that, they're in a decent amount of shade. So I think we're gonna focus mainly here on like lettuces, probably kale, things like that. Then those get a decent amount. And then from the stump back, which looks like it's not that much, but that's actually the halfway mark, this stump. So back here gets a lot of sun. So these are sort of the heavy sun areas. Now we just need to make sure that we're crop rotating. And I think we're gonna maybe do beans up this and maybe peas up this, something like that. But we're gonna take a minute to just sort of talk it through so that Bert can start to gather some things to make structures for the cucumbers and things like that. We can do peppers here. All right, we have a plan. Hey! So Bert's gonna start on the structure so that I can go ahead and start planting things up. You wanna keep going? But I'm gonna finish up weeding the beds, and then hopefully by that point he'll have one of the beds, the structures all in place, and then I can go ahead and start planting. June 2nd. It's a little late, but it'll all happen. Okay, aside from a few self-seeders that we still have to kind of clear out, we have some borage that seeded itself, some spinach, poppies, that trillium, and aside from our herbs, we are all ready. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and start with the cucumbers. I think I'm gonna plant up the yellow summer squash next, this Butterfingers. It's a pretty good squash. I honestly grow it just because I like in my harvest basket to have a bunch of different colors. If I'm being honest, I actually prefer the Dunja, the green zucchini, the green squash. But we're gonna go ahead and plant these. First of all, because I had the seeds, so I planted them up this spring. And also because they're really pretty and they do taste good. I think particularly if you bake them, they taste really nice. I think that if you saute them, they just don't, they're a little bit harder, a little bit more like a true squash than the zucchini. I think I'm gonna do it up our bean pole. Beans fix nitrogen in the soil, so I think we're gonna go pretty sparingly. I think we'll just do one on either side of the bean pole. Should be good. We have Thor on our hands.
I don't know if it was me or the soil.
Oh my goodness.
That's totally destroyed.
Oh my God.
I think it's the roots and the rocks.
Oh goodness. All right, now I'm gonna go ahead and plant the zucchini, the dunjas, here. And I'll start that. I'm gonna just do 2 per bed. That way they get a lot of airflow around them and they're not competing for any nutrients or anything. And because we really don't want them to get powdery mildew, we love to have lots of space for them. The first year, I think we planted 6 per bed, and they're just 5 by 3 beds. But the second year we did 3, and I think this year we're gonna just do 2. So now they look really small in the bed right now, and I'm not sure if you can actually tell this, but what I like to do is mound up the soil. Can you tell? Maybe you saw me doing it, but I mound up the soil to create a little mound, and then I dig a little kind of moat, plant that in the center, and so that way the water kind of stays, but none of it is gonna kind of disrupt the crown of the plant. Keeping that really flush with the soil level, raising it up so it gets nice, good airflow and moisture. It's raised up, so it's a little bit higher. Can you see? You can't really tell at all, actually. But that's just the way that I've found our zucchini and squash really like it. So just these 2 in this bed. So before we carry on, sorry, someone's doing some work over there, but before we carry on, I just want to show you how Bert is putting this next tomato bed together. So can you talk us through it, babe?
So I dug 4 holes around the bed, and now I'm creating like a triangle, pinnacle, little tent structure here with these 2. I'm gonna tie it up there so that they sit in place and support each other. Then I'm gonna do the same over there with 2 big long poles again. And then I'm gonna put one across it and then tie them all up so that way it creates a structure like this, except even sturdier because that one's kind of falling apart from last year. You can see that one up there. And then that way it's tall and the plants can climb up it. These are indeterminate tomatoes, so they'll just keep growing and growing and growing until we cut them, basically. They'll just keep going.
All through October, huh?
Through October.
See how I'm mounding the soil up? Like that, just creating a nice mound. Then flatten it off like a plateau. Dig a little hole in the center. I like to make sure there are no rocks actually in the center once I know where it's going. Okay. Fertilizer. So structure's all in place, you tied it together.
Okay.
And now, do you need some help?
Cross beam. I think I can get it. How's that look? Does that look level?
Yeah, that looks great.
Great. We tie it in and then we're all set.
That's exciting. It's gonna be that's perfect for the tomatoes.
Tall one, yeah.
Yeah, how tall would you say that is?
Say about 8 feet, 8.5 feet.
Yeah. Bert is a tall boy. That is so good. Jeez Louise. Oh my God, you even did the strings. That's perfect. Wow, good job. Those are so good. Perfect. Okay, it's gotten a little bit colder and the black flies are out, so I have this sweater on. We are going to plant up the tomatoes. We are going to plant up the flowers in the back of the border and maybe start planting up a few of the dahlias. Oh, did you grab the tubers? I think then we'll be in a pretty good place. We'll make sure everything's nice and watered in But things are looking pretty good. I think by the end of today, at least, we'll have planted up. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 planted up now. Then we'll do 5, 6 with these two. So we'll have 6 of our 16 beds planted. And then, 7, because this herb bed is already in place. The sage I cut back. That's that one there in the middle. So that one will grow in. And then the oregano, this side will get a little bit bigger. So we will have 7 of our 16 beds planted, almost half. And we have beans, peas. Those are going to take up maybe 3 or 4 beds. And then we'll have kale, peppers, and lettuce to just fill in the rest. Because we kind of go heavy on things that we eat the most of. We eat a lot of kale. We eat a lot of tomatoes and peppers. And we would love to grow broccoli. We tried growing broccoli here several years, and cauliflower and things that we eat a lot of. We eat a lot of broccoli and cauliflower, but they just do not like it here. The season really isn't long enough. And then by the time that they're actually going, it gets too hot and they start to bolt. Anyway, yada, yada, yada. I'm probably procrastinating, but let's go ahead and get stuck in, and we will finally put in our tomatoes that have been waiting for so long. Not so patiently anymore. Look at these structures. I'm so proud of him. They're big this year, which is fun. So like I said, this was the tomato frame from last year that we're doing the cucumbers up this year. I don't know if you can tell how much bigger this is. It's a lot bigger. And you might see Bert in the background. He's going to be planting up some salvia and some gomphrena in the back behind our bistro set. And that should get pretty tall. You know, the salvias for us get pretty tall and pretty chunky. So having those in the back of the border, I think is going to be really gorgeous. And hopefully we'll get our hands on some really nice morning glory that we can put in the back of that border that's already started and doing really well. So that's what we're doing. I'm going to plant this one up with our sun gold cherry tomatoes. Let's do it. Look what Bert did. Neat. Ooh. Oh. Ow. He just bit me right on my head. Okay, so for the beans, I just wrapped the twine around and then spun it around each of these poles once as I spun it all the way around, so that the beans can have something to kind of grip onto as they climb. So now I'm gonna go ahead and plant them. And I think I'm gonna do the same in each bed. So we'll do 2 of these structures with the same beans, I'm thinking. So I'm thinking the purple and 2 of the green whole beans in each one. Or should I mix them up? Should I do one? No, yeah, I'll do the same varieties, just climbing up both. So this is the one, the purple, the blue lake pole, and Kentucky Wonder pole. Turkey wonder. The sun. All right, that's day one complete. I'm feeling really good about it. How are you feeling about it?
Really good.
It's looking good. It's, there's a lot to do, but really, oh, my hands are so dirty.
Just my pinkies because of
Because that's where the holes are
the
in
hole
your
in my
gloves.
gloves.
And we planted up some flowers in the back. You planted up dahlias. We did the beans. We did all the squash for the year. We did the tomatoes for the year. And then the cucumbers that are going to go in the cottage garden. Maybe the zucchini. But yeah, it's so fun to get it started over here. Oh my gosh. I'm so happy. I'll show you a quick but before, I guess, and then we'll work on it again another day. After before. Happy?
So happy. Good haul.
Hello, good afternoon. We are headed to the vegetable patch to do another day of beautiful planting, and I am so excited. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that we will finish today, but I don't want to put too much pressure on us. We have my favorite person in the world joining us, Bert, so that'll be so fun just to hang out there together and try and tie up all the loose ends in the vegetable patch. We have lettuce, kale, and lots of flowers and herbs to plant. And this is when we're going to be doing a lot of that companion planting. So let's go ahead and go over there. I just wanted to show you while we're on our way. Look at that beautiful peony in bloom. The other ones are about to burst as well. I can't wait. You like our little stroll to the vegetable patch?
I love it. It's such like a cooling, nice experience between the two sun spots.
It is such a gorgeous day. It's about 80. Warmest day so far. This is the red oak lettuce. I love this. Oh, so good. So I'm going to start by watering everything, and then we're going to go ahead and get planting. We're going heavy on flowers this year. Are you excited about it?
Oh, so excited.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be really pretty.
I think so too. I am excited about the rose. I'm just so excited. All right, so I'll set you down and we'll water everything in from yesterday. Give it a good drink. And then we'll go ahead and start planting everything else up. Oh, this is balsam. Really beautiful. Impatient. In the impatient family. Part shade to shade. So we could put this somewhere fun. But this is one that just self-seeds really freely. They have it over at Hildene. And we've done some features over there for our gardening show. And they're so lovely over there at Hildene Gardens. And they recommended planting this because it's just like one of those things that just takes over a space. So if you have a little bed that you want it to just fill in, it's really, really beautiful. Also, one of the trees is snowing. Can you see that? like little white fluffies coming down. So that's just going to fill up the beds with white snow. All right, let me keep watering. So if you live in an area that gets a lot of sun and you have a vegetable patch in sun, which it should be, then you're probably wondering why we're being so meticulous about planting things in the front. The front of the bed is the shadiest. And thus far, we've had things like lettuce. We planted begonias in there. We've planted borage up here. Kale one year we did. And I found that the lettuce does the best. However, Bert had an idea about kind of tucking everything back a little bit so that we could utilize the sun that we now have, now that we've taken away the spaces in the center of the rows. But what I wanted to do is kind of, instead of putting all of the oak leaf in one bed and all of the curly red in the other, I decided to kind of do half and half to try and see which ones they like best. And that way we are definitely going to have one variety of each. Does that make sense? So yeah, I think it'll work out really nicely. But we have found that borage does really well in the shade, and it self-seeds itself in that bed as well. Lettuce does well in the shade for us. Kale is okay. It still performs well, but it's not as vigorous as if it's in a sunnier spot. Sorrel does really well in the shade, very, very well in the shade. Parsley does well in the shade in terms of herbs. What are some other herbs that we've done that do well in the shade? We're going to do peas in our shadier bed this year and see how that goes. But we do have 2 beds of peas. Again, just sort of to make sure that if this one doesn't work out, we still have the peas because we love those. So yeah, that's kind of the idea. If you live in a shadier garden, but you do want to grow your own food, that's sort of the idea. Those are the main ones that we've found are the most effective. If I think of any more, I'll let you know. Spinach does well. I love this one. This is the Empress of India. It's just such a vibrant, rich red color, and the lily pad leaves are blue, and they're just so beautiful, like rich, deep red. Empress of India, beautiful. Yeah, this is gonna work over time.
Yeah.
It's just helping both crops.
After a few days of work, we are all done with the vegetable patch. I am so excited about this space this year. I think adding all of this flower power and doing all the really heavy companion planting is just going to be a really fun experiment. And it's going to be a fun way to introduce a lot of color and a lot of pollinators. We've already seen the hummingbirds come over and the bumblebees. So right in these first front beds that are kind of in the shade, shadier spot, they get some light in the morning, some light in the midday, and then some light in the afternoon slash late afternoon slash early evening. But here in this bed, we have some beautiful, this is like a butter crunch, wonderful for salads. And here is a beautiful romaine that I'm so excited about having. And with the most of our lettuce, we treat it like a cut and come again. We very rarely come in and just like cut a whole head of romaine or something. But especially the butter crunch, they do really well as a cut and come again. And so do these, like any of these like red oak leaf lettuces do so well for us. And I love this. I love that they have a slightly bitter flavor, but they're just really lovely, easy to throw in tacos, taco bowls, salads, things like that. And then this is the new fire red lettuce, really ruffly, gorgeous one to, again, treat as a cut and come again. In the front of the beds, we have the nasturtiums. So those should be really lovely all the way in the front of these beds. Oh, we do have one thing to do at the end of today. We're going to go ahead and plant up the peas and beans because, you know, the other day, Bert ended up putting in the bean poles and all of the pea stakes and everything, all the pea cages. I had to go inside and do some work. But then it just got too dark. And so we're going to do that at the end of this. We'll leave you with that. And then we kind of swapped it. So here we have that new red fire in the front and then the oak lettuce there. Nasturtiums in the front. And it's a beautiful like blue-leaved nasturtium with those gorgeous lily pad leaves. Zinnias, purple kale, another kale mix, and then the dill to companion plant with the kale. Dill is probably my favorite herb, one of my favorite herbs, I'd say. I really love dill. Parsley on either side, some dahlias in there, which will be interesting. We didn't leave them too much room, but we'll see. Marigolds, basil, companion planted with the, oh goodness, with the tomatoes, but this one, its roots are being exposed. What happened to you? Maybe it was all that rain.
So tomatoes, 2 more nasturtiums, companion planted with those tomatoes. Then we have some dahlias. This is where we're going to be doing the Oregon sugar pod peas. So that's gonna go in there. On this side, we planted the beans and we had so much rain that they've come up. Look at that. How neat. I'm so excited. We have to come in here and do some weeding already. The rain just brings in so many weed seeds, but that's okay. We'll come in and we'll use the hoe, but these are gonna shade out anything pretty soon here. They do grow incredibly quickly. And then in the back here, we have the balsams, which have already started to bloom. Look at that. They're called like roses, like they create little rosettes, but they look more like orchids to me. But anyway, I'm so excited about that. They're very upright, which is fun. Playing the blue salvia, that'll be lovely. And dahlias back here. So we'll have dahlias, and then the impatiens, the balsam impatiens there. Beans on this side, more dahlias here. We have calendula here, companion planted with our beautiful sun gold cherry tomatoes. So yes, we have decided over the years, we've grown lots of different varieties of tomato, and this is really the only one that reliably blooms and bears fruit for us. The others, it just usually takes too long. Oh, are these already forming tomatoes? You guys, we have tomatoes! That is so exciting. See what I mean? These are just so quick to bear fruit. I'm so excited about that. We just put them in. They were really needing to get out. They've been like on our windowsills for way too long. I planted the seeds at the beginning of April. Again, we've planted up basil here, marigolds. I don't think we have any dahlias in this bed, but we'll have the marigolds, we'll have the basil. Then here we have our gorgeous lemon balm, oregano, this chocolate peppermint that we just found. We couldn't find any at our local garden centers, and we found just some that had crawled out from under the pots that we had them in last year, luckily. And so now looks like they're starting to take, because you can see a bunch of new leaves there. We're not going to leave them here. We're going to eventually come in and pot them up and find a little place for them, but that's exciting. We have some sage from last year, echinacea. All of this has come back from last year, which is really amazing. And then cosmos, the lettuces that we talked about. I'll come through here and try and be a little quicker. Lettuces, more cosmos. This is the sensation mix. Here we have some zucchinis, more of those calendulas. Oh, I love those. And the squash and zucchinis, they have buds on them, so hopefully that starts to do something soon. Little marigold mix. Peppers, our Spitfire pepper here, and our Flavor Burst hybrid pepper there with the Nicotiana in the center. Great one for aphids and stuff like that. Here we have our cucumbers planted with nasturtiums. So hopefully the nasturtiums might take over to the string, but they might just kind of crawl around and sprawl like a ground cover. Either way, that'll be fine. But the cucumbers should climb their way up. Gosh, we have so many grasshoppers. I mean, living in a woodland, you just have so many things that want to eat your plants, and you just kind of have to, what I've found is easiest is just to observe, just see what happens. Try to be a little more hands-off as a gardener and just kind of see what happens, see what takes. And, I think if you are consistent with trying to keep your plants healthy, putting the right plant in the right place and just being mindful of things like companion planting and other kind of organic gardening practices, I think you can have a really beautiful garden without having to get out a bunch of sprays and stuff like that. So calendula here already starting to bloom. I think I really want to make a calendula salve because I get really bad eczema. So using calendula is great for salve. So I might make a salve out of that for my eczema. Then here we have our dahlias that are starting to come up already. So that's great. Oh, this is our second bed where we're going to be planting. And here we're planting more beans. In the back of this bed here, we have our gomphrena. We have plain the blue salvia. Look at that. How pretty. And then we put the heavenly blue morning glory, and it's already starting to climb up the ferns. Oh, this one's getting confused. No, 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 no. You're supposed to go this way. So hopefully that'll just fill in the whole back there. I think that'll look so gorgeous. We have some daylilies back there. Obviously our little bistro set. Then here is our pea cage. This is the rest of the lettuce. So this is our last one. We'll pop you in there. Here we have nicotiana, kale, nicotiana, kale, zinnias, dahlias. Hopefully they start coming up. I'm excited about these zinnias. So these are the State Fair mix. All of the zinnias throughout are the State Fair mix. Marigolds, some more squash. This is the yellow summer squash with some nasturtiums in there as well. Dahlias, nasturtiums, zucchinis, and I think that's all. So this is our before, and we will see how everything looks at the end of this season. And throughout the season, obviously, I'll keep you updated, but it is just so fun to have everything in the ground. That's one thing as you're like gearing up and looking at the frost dates and just thinking, like, tick-tock, are we gonna have it in the ground quick enough? That's why any of you who have a really long growing season, I envy you so much. But yeah, it's really fun to see everything in the ground and to see it different this year. It's not a huge shift, but we're gonna have a lot more space for growing, which is always fun. That's always the dream. We do have a few tomatoes that we planted over here, and we have a rogue potato growing in that little pile of leaves in the corner, which we'll probably end up mulching. We might do a few other little bits and pieces here just to tidy it up, but thank you so much for joining us. Please like this video if you like, subscribe if you're not already. It's just the two of us making these videos, and it really does help us out for you to subscribe. And I can't believe we're almost at 50,000 subscribers. How crazy. Thank you. But yeah, we'll see you again very, very soon. And until then, happy gardening. Bye.